All right, guys, we are going to finish off with the review, questions 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I know question 5 got cut off a little bit, so I just wanted to make sure you all understood why this question right here, why this answer choice is a solution. And that's just because the -7, 5 was a solution for both systems together. So that means it is also a solution for line 1 on its own. Okay, so if you plugged in the -7, 5 into line 1, that would definitely be a solution because that's the point where line 1 and line 2 intersect. Okay, so we're going to start working on question 6 now. And question 6 comes from section 4, topic 6. Okay, so Maggie makes and sells scented body lotions. She initially spent $108 to purchase supplies, and each kilogram of lotion costs $16 to make, and she sells the lotion for $25 per kilogram. So how many kilograms of lotion will Maggie have to sell to break even? Break even means when will they be equal? When will the amount that she spent, the 108, when will she make that amount of money back based on what she's making per kilogram on the lotion? Okay, so to set up this equation, you would have 108, and that needs to equal, because that's when they're going to break even, would need to equal the 25 per kilogram that she sells it for minus the 16 per kilogram that it costs to make it. Okay, so the 25K minus, because cost, this word right here, cost, is telling me that I am subtracting that amount from the amount that she sells it for. Okay, so 108 is equal to 25K minus 16K, and that K is just because K for kilograms. Okay, so that's why I used the K variable. K equals kilogram. Okay, so now I just need to solve for K. So 25K minus 16K is going to give me 9K, and that is equal to 108. Well, then if I divide by 9 and divide by 9, then that means that K is equal to 12. Okay, so that means that Maggie needs to sell 12 kilograms of lotion to break even. Okay, so when she sells 12 kilograms of lotion, that's when she will start making a profit or start earning money, because it cost her $108 to make it. All right, moving on to question 7. Mr. Gardner is contemplating which shuttle service to take to the airport. Fast Shuttle charges a $5 pickup fee and a 25-cent per mile. Steady Shuttle charges a $2 pickup fee and 50 cents per mile. Then it asks, part A asks, when will the two plans cost the same amount? There we are with that same amount. And when we see the word same, that's when it's going to mean equal, okay? That's when we set the equations equal to each other. So looking at this word problem, we have to compare Fast Shuttle and what they charge, and compare that to Steady Shuttle and what they charge. And then we're going to help Mr. Gardner determine which shuttle service to use. So first we need to determine when they're going to cost the same. So first we need to write an equation for both the companies, Fast Shuttle and Steady Shuttle. So Fast Shuttle is equal to $5, because that's the pickup fee, plus 0.25, because that's the cost per mile, so X. okay? 5 plus 0.25x. Then steady shuttle is equal to $2 for the pickup fee, but they charge 50 cents per mile. So because I need them to be equal to each other, and I'm going to erase this so I can put it on top because the same means equal, okay? Now I'm just going to set those two equations equal to each other. So 5 plus 0.25x is equal to 2 plus 0.50x. And now I just need to solve. So my goal is to get my x's to one side and my constants to the other. So I'm going to subtract 0.25x and subtract 0.25x. This will cancel out. And then I'm left with 5 is equal to 2 plus 0.25x. Now I need to subtract 2 and subtract 2. And I get 3 is equal to 0.25x. And then I have to divide by 0.25 and divide by 0.25. And when you divide by 0.25, you actually get a larger number. So x is going to equal 12. So after 12 miles, they will cost the same. Okay. Now for part B, it says if the airport is 20 miles away, which company should Mr. Gardner choose? Well, if the airport is 20 miles away, then we have to take that 20 and we have to plug it into our equations here for our two shuttle companies and determine which one would cost less. So which company, because we don't want to pay too much, so which company costs the least? Okay, so to find that out, we're going to plug in that 20 into both equations. So fast shuttle is going to be equal to 5 plus 0.25 multiplied by 20. 0.25 multiplied by 20 is 5. 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So it would cost $10 for the fast shuttle, and for steady shuttle, it's going to cost 2 plus 0.5 times 20. 0.5 times 20 is 10. Then we add 2 and the answer, and we get $12. Okay, so steady shuttle will cost $12 to go 20 miles and fast will cost 10. So that is the answer to part B is $10. And that would be fast shuttle, okay? So moving on to question 8. It says nuts.com sells almonds for $10 per pound and roasted pistachios for $12 per pound. Okay, so $10 per pound, $12 per pound. If Christopher spends $70 before taxes and shipping to purchase 6.3 pounds of nuts. First, they want us to write a systems of equation to represent the situation. So here we're looking for a system, so that's 2 or more equations. Okay, and then we need to figure out how many pounds of almonds did Christopher purchase. So we need to identify our pounds. So our unknowns we're going to have our X and our Y, right? Y is going to equal the total cost. And my X is going to equal the pounds. Okay. I'll write that out for you. X is equal to pounds. And when we do that, we're going to have so sells raw almonds for $10 per pound. So we're going to have 10x plus 12y is equal to $70. And he bought 6.3 total pounds, so x plus y is equal to 6.3. And so if you notice something, you'll notice that I wrote down the wrong unknowns. Sorry, I got sidetracked because somebody walked into my room. So x is equal to the almonds, silly me, and the y is equal to the pistachios. Okay. So x is my almonds, y is my pistachios, and I plug them into the equation, and I identified that the 10x plus 12y was equal to the $70, and the x plus y is equal to the 6.3 total pounds. Okay. So this is just like an equation that we did in our notes the past couple weeks. So in order to solve this, and we have to find how many pounds of almonds that Christopher purchased. So we're looking for the almonds. So we're looking for our X. They didn't ask us about the pistachios, so we don't really even have to find Y for this equation. We just have to identify the almonds. So my goal is going to be to eliminate the Y. So to do that, I'm going to take this whole equation, this whole second equation, and I can either multiply that equation by 12 if I was using elimination, or I could solve for Y and then plug in that value into my Y. So I'm actually going to use elimination today. So when I multiply the whole equation times 12, I'm going to get 12x plus 12y is equal to, well, let's see, 6.3 multiplied by 12 is equal to 75.6. So 75.6. And I did not need to change my first equation. So 10x plus 12y is equal to $70. Okay. Now that I have my two equations, and now that I have a coefficient, the same coefficient for my y, now I can subtract these two equations. Okay, I'm going to subtract the two equations from each other and solve for x. 10x minus 12x gives me a negative 2x. 12y minus 12y gives me 0. 70 minus 75.6 is going to give me 5.6. Then I have to divide by negative 2 and divide by negative 2, and I find x is equal to 2.8. So that means that Christopher purchased 2.8 pounds of almonds. Okay. Elimination was just one way that you could have used to solve the systems of equations. Remember that there are multiple ways to solve systems, and that is elimination, substitution, or graphing. I thought it would be easiest to use elimination, so I used elimination, but you could have also used substitution. Or if you had a graphing calculator, you could plug it in there too. Okay, plenty of options with systems. Moving on to question 9. The Bryant family reunion and the Jordan family reunion both include a visit to the Math Meets Animal Zoo. The zoo charges different amounts for children and adults. In the following system, A represents the cost of an adult ticket, and C represents the cost of a child's ticket. Okay. The first equation in the system represents the amount of money that the Bryant family spends, and the second equation represents the amount of money that the Jordan family spends. So this is Jordan, and this one is the Bryant family. Which of the following statements are true? Select all that apply. Okay, so we are looking at these two equations and we need to understand what's happening in these equations. Okay, so the Bryant takes 12 adults and 16 children to the zoo. Well, in order to know that information, we need to determine, well, yes, the Bryant family takes 12 adults and 16 children. Well, look at. Sorry, I was getting ahead of myself and trying to solve for A and C, but I don't need to do that yet. Okay, so 12, they're saying the Bryant family here took 12 adults and 16 children. Well, did they take 12 adults and 16 children, or did it cost $12 per adult and $16 per child? Because it says the zoo charges different amounts for children and adults. In the following system, A represents the cost of an adult ticket, and C represents the cost of a child's ticket. So is that the correct answer? Does the Bryant family take 12 adults and 16 children to the zoo? Yes, they do. There is a total of 22 children at the reunions. So here we're looking at the 22, and it's asking if 16 plus 8 is 22. Well, 16 plus 8 is not 22, it's 24. So no, because there's 24 children. Okay. There is a total of 18 people at the Jordan family reunion. So the Jordan family, this one is 10 plus 8, 18 people. Yes, that is true. Saying 16 represents the cost of a child ticket for the Bryant family. No, the 16 represents the number of children, not the cost. Okay, so no, not that 16 represents the number of children, not the cost of children. 10 represents the cost of an adult ticket for the Jordan family. No, 10 represents the number of adults, not the cost of the adults. So it represents the number of adults. The Bryant family spends $120 on tickets for children and adults. No, the Bryant family spends $176. So no, that's what the Jordan family spends. Okay, so they're trying to trick you. So that is not an answer. And then it says, together, the families spend $296. Well, let's add the total amount together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 7 plus 2 is 9. 1 plus 1 is 2. So yes, together, they spent $296. So my correct answers are A, C, and G. The ones highlighted are your correct answers. Okay, we have one more question. So it says, consider the following graph, which represents the solutions to a system of inequalities. That's what we've been working on this past week. Which of the following systems of inequalities does the graph represent? Select all that apply. Okay. So if these are the inequalities, we need to match the graph with the systems. Okay. So first, I'm going to look at this one. This is a solid line. So a solid line needs to have the equals. Okay. So it has to have the equals. This intercept here is equal to 0. And the slope, my m, is equal to 1. So the equation for this line would be y is greater than or equal to x without a constant because the y-intercept was 0 and the slope was just 1. So where do I have y is greater than or equal to x? Well, let's go over here and look at my equations. I have it right here. I have it right here. Well, this one was rearranged. So I have to add the x. So then this would be y is greater than or equal to x. So that is also a solution. And the other ones, this bottom one would be y is greater than or equal to x as well. Okay. So those three match because this one says y is greater than x. So that one does not work. Cross that one out and cross that one out. Okay. So now let's look at the other graphed line. And so that is a dotted line. And because that's dotted, it's not going to have the equal sign. So it's either going to be a greater than or less than symbol. My intercept is still 0. And my slope is equal to, I went up 2 and over 1, so my slope was equal to 2. So since my slope is equal to 2, well, let's see. All of them are equal to 2. That makes sense. Well, let's go ahead and write the equation. So this is going to be y is greater than 2x, okay? And I know that it's greater than because this here area that is shaded, everything is above, right? We are shading above the line. And when I have above the line, everything will either have to be greater than or equal to, okay? So I know that it's going to be greater than, same with this one over here, because I'm shading above the line in this graph. So I need to look for y is greater than 2x. Well, y is greater than or equal to 2x. That does not work because it does not have the equal sign. It is missing. I mean, it has the equal sign, and we're not supposed to have the equal sign in the equation because it's a dotted line. Y is greater than 2x. Well, that's correct. So we can mark this as a correct answer. Y is greater than or equal to 2x. Again, we have that equal sign, so that one's crossed out. Negative 2x plus y. Well, if we move that x over, we would have y is greater than 2x. And so that is also an answer choice. All right, guys. I have people knocking at the door. Those are the two correct answers. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend.